Get me out of here! Hello and welcome to Prop Culture, your look into the world of replica prop and costume making. I'm your host, Bill Duran, and I would never, ever shoot my cat. Ever. Well, I have been really busy. If you've been following me on the Facebooks and the Twitters, then you would know that I've been working on the Ghost Rifle from StarCraft 2. That's right, this big guy right here, and it's all done. Yeah. I figured I'd take this chance to tell you guys a little bit more about the build as a whole now that it's done. I did post a full detailed build write-up on my website, and I'll put the link for that down in the description so you can go check out a more in-depth look. But here it is, in a nutshell, how this build went down. Down here I've got the master pieces that I built out of a whole bunch of different materials, things like MDF and styrene plastic and PVC and Bondo and epoxy sculpt and all of that stuff. So each one of these pieces here is a different part of the gun that I went and made a mold of. Over here are a couple of my molds. This is the mold for the magazine. You can see here, it's a two-part mold. It gets closed up like so. And then you pour plastic resin in there and you end up with a copy of the magazine. This bigger fellow over here is for the scope, and it's a similar thing. Close it up, pour in your liquid resin, bam, you got a scope. Just like that. These are some of the most complicated and difficult and emotionally charged molds that I have ever made. For those who are following along, you were there when one of my molds failed and a bunch of silicone spilled all over the place. But they're done. I finished them, and I was able to get the good pieces out of it and put together the finished copy. So this guy right here is all plastic compared to the master, which is made out of a bunch of different materials. In every other way, it is identical to the finished piece. The painting on that was done with my airbrush, and I used these paints by Model Masters that are buffable metallic lacquer, or metallizers. So now they're apparently just inventing words, but that's fine. These are the buffable metallizer paints here that I use with my airbrush to paint this guy. There's a stainless steel color that I did for most of it, and then the darker areas were done with a gunmetal color. You airbrush those paints on and you let them dry for about 10 minutes, and then you can buff them with a paper towel or a cloth to get a really nice metallic sheen. And that's what I got out of this right here. When you're done buffing it, they have a sealer that you spray on there to keep the nice shiny metal bits in. Finally, I went over the entire gun with a bunch of acrylic paints. This was to weather the gun and make it look really dirty, like you've been fighting the Zerg for a really long time. I used acrylic paints like this black here and a yellow ochre color to give it more of a dusty, dirty look. You end up getting a lot of surface dirtiness on it, and you get paint that's sort of caught in the grooves and like that, and it makes it look, if you put a lot of time into it, like it's been, handled and worn and been fighting and stuff. Once you've done all the weathering, then you can go and seal all of that in. I like to use a spray paint. I use just a matte clear coat spray paint. Finally, this last piece right here is actually metal. This is the only part on the gun that's actually metal. It's an aluminum rod, and I used my bender. This is a little doodad I picked up at Harbor Freight for super cheap, and you use it for bending rods. And that's it. The gun was done. It took me about a month, a little more than a month maybe, in between other projects to get this thing finished. But it is done, and I have these molds so I can make more. So hopefully you guys learned a thing or two. If you want the full build details, I'll have a link in the description to the blog post that details the entire thing. And I've got the blueprints for this for sale on my website, so you can go there. I will put the link again in the description. If this video was helpful to you, then why don't you go ahead and subscribe, because I've got a lot more stuff coming. Thanks for watching! Oh, you guys suck. You can be on TV. I could never show you.